The heart of the Buddha's teaching. The Four Immeasurable Minds. During the Buddha lifetime, those of the Brahmanic faith prayed that after death they would go to heaven to dwell eternally with Brahma, the universal God. One day a Brahmin man asked the Buddha, "What can I do to be sure that I will be with Brahma after I die?" And the Buddha replied, "Yes, Brahma is the source of love. To dwell with him you must practice the Rama Bouds, Brahmaviharas, or Four Immeasurable Minds. Love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Love in Sanskrit is Maitri, in Pali it is Metta. Compassion is Karuna in both languages. Joy is Mudita. Equanimity is Upeksha in Sanskrit and Upekkha in Pali. A vihara is an abode or a dwelling place. The four Brahmaviharas are the abodes of true love. This address is much greater than a 4-star hotel. It is a 1,000-star dwelling. The four Brahmaviharas are called measurable because if you practice them, they will grow in you every day until they embrace the whole world. You will become happier, and everyone around you will become happier also. The Buddha respected people desire to practice their own faith, so that is why he encouraged the Brahmin man in his own language. If you enjoy walking meditation, practice walking meditation. If you enjoy sitting meditation, practice sitting meditation. But preserve your Jewish, Christian, or Muslim roots. That is the best way to realize the Buddha spirit. If you are cut off from your roots, you cannot be happy. If you learn to practice love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, you will know how to heal the illnesses of anger, sorrow, insecurity, sadness, hatred, loneliness, and unhealthy attachments. Some sutra commentators have said that the Brahmaviharas are not the highest teaching of the Buddha, that they cannot put an end to all suffering and afflictions, but that is not correct. One time the Buddha said to Ananda, "Teach these four immeasurable minds to the young monks, and they will feel secure, strong, and joyful, without afflictions of body or mind. For the whole of their lives, they will be well equipped to practice the pure way of a monk." On another occasion, a group of the Buddha disciples visited the monastery of a nearby sect, and the monks there asked, "We have heard that your teacher Gautama teaches the four immeasurable minds of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Our master teaches this also. What is the difference?" The Buddha disciples did not know how to respond. When they returned to their monastery, the Buddha told them, "Whoever practices the four immeasurable minds together with the 7 factors of awakening, the 4 noble truths, and the noble eightfold path will arrive deeply at enlightenment. Love, compassion, joy, and equanimity are the very nature of an enlightened person. They are the 4 aspects of true love within ourselves and within everyone and everything. The first aspect of true love is Maitri, the intention and capacity to offer joy and happiness. To develop that capacity, we have to practice looking and listening deeply so that we know what to do and what not to do to make others happy. If you offer your beloved something she does not need, that is not Maitri. You have to see her real situation, or what you offer might bring her unhappiness. In Southeast Asia, many people are extremely fond of a large, thorny fruit called durian. You could even say they are addicted to it. Its smell is extremely strong, and when some people finish eating the fruit, they put the skin under their bed so they can continue to smell it. To me, the smell of durian is horrible. One day when I was practicing chanting in my temple in Vietnam, there was a durian on the altar that had been offered to the Buddha. I was trying to recite the Lotus Sutra, using a wooden drum and a large bowl-shaped bell for accompaniment, but I could not concentrate at all. I finally carried the bell to the altar and turned it upside down to imprison the durian, so I could chant the sutra. After I finished, I bowed to the Buddha and liberated the durian. If you were to say to me, I love you so much I would like you to eat some of this durian, I would suffer. You love me, you want me to be happy, but you force me to eat durian. That is an example of love without understanding. Your intention is good, but you don't have the correct understanding. Without understanding, your love is not true love. You must look deeply in order to see and understand the needs, aspirations, and suffering of the one you love. We all need love. Love brings us joy and well-being. It is as natural as the air. We are loved by the air, We need fresh air to be happy and well. We are loved by trees. We need trees to be healthy. In order to be loved, we have to love, which means we have to understand. For our love to continue, we have to take the appropriate action or non-action to protect the air, the trees, and our beloved. Maitri can be translated as ove, or oving kindness. Some Buddhist teachers prefer oving kindness, as they find the word ove too dangerous. But I prefer ove. Words sometimes get sick and we have to heal them. We have been using the word ove to mean appetite or desire, as in love hamburgers. We have to use language more carefully. Ove is a beautiful word. We have to restore its meaning. The word atri has roots in the word mitra, which means friend. In Buddhism, the primary meaning of love is friendship. We all have the seeds of love in us. We can develop this wonderful source of energy, nurturing the unconditional love that does not expect anything in return. When we understand someone deeply, even someone who has done us harm, we cannot resist loving him or her. Shakyamuni Buddha declared that the Buddha of the next eon will be named Aitreya, the Buddha of love. The second aspect of true love is karuna, the intention and capacity to relieve and transform suffering and lighten sorrows. Karuna is usually translated as compassion, but that is not exactly correct. Compassion is composed of com, together with, and passion, suffer. But we do not need to suffer to remove suffering from another person. Doctors, for instance, can relieve their patients' suffering without experiencing the same disease in themselves. If we suffer too much, we may be crushed and unable to help. Still, until we find a better word, let us use compassion to translate karuna. To develop compassion in ourselves, we need to practice mindful breathing, deep listening, and deep looking. The Lotus Sutra describes Avalokitesvara as the bodhisattva who practices looking with the eyes of compassion and listening deeply to the cries of the world. Compassion contains deep concern. You know the other person is suffering, so you sit close to her. You look and listen deeply to her to be able to touch her pain. You are in deep communication, deep communion with her, and that alone brings some relief. One compassionate word, action, or thought can reduce another person suffering and bring him joy. One word can give comfort and confidence, destroy doubt, help someone avoid a mistake, reconcile a conflict, or open the door to liberation. One action can save a person's life or help him take advantage of a rare opportunity. One thought can do the same, because thoughts always lead to words and actions. With compassion in our heart, every thought, word, and deed can bring about a miracle. When I was a novice, I could not understand why, if the world is filled with suffering, the Buddha has such a beautiful smile. Why isn't he disturbed by all the suffering? Later I discovered that the Buddha has enough understanding, calmness, and strength. That is why the suffering does not overwhelm him. He is able to smile to suffering because he knows how to take care of it and to help transform it. We need to be aware of the suffering, but retain our clarity, calmness, and strength, so we can help transform the situation. The ocean of tears cannot drown us if karuna is there. That is why the Buddha smile is possible. The third element of true love is mudita, joy. True love always brings joy to ourselves and to the one we love. If our love does not bring joy to both of us, it is not true love. Commentators explain that happiness relates to both body and mind, whereas joy relates primarily to mind. This example is often given. Someone traveling in the desert sees a stream of cool water and experiences joy. On drinking the water, he experiences happiness. Drishtadharma Sukha means welling happily in the present moment. We don't rush to the future, we know that everything is here in the present moment. Many small things can bring us tremendous joy, such as the awareness that we have eyes in good condition. We just have to open our eyes and we can see the blue sky, the violet flowers, the children, the trees, and so many other kinds of forms and colors. Dwelling in mindfulness, we can touch these wondrous and refreshing things, and our mind of joy arises naturally. Joy contains happiness and happiness contains joy. Some commentators have said that mudita means empathetic joy, or altruistic joy, the happiness we feel when others are happy. But that is too limited. It discriminates between self and others. A deeper definition of mudita is a joy that is filled with peace and contentment. We rejoice when we see others happy, but we rejoice in our own well-being as well. How can we feel joy for another person when we do not feel joy for ourselves? Joy is for everyone. The fourth element of true love is upeksha, which means equanimity, non-attachment, non-discrimination, even-mindedness, or letting go. Upa means there, and aksh means oh look. You climb the mountain to be able to look over the whole situation, not bound by one side or the other. If your love has attachment, discrimination, prejudice, or clinging in it, it is not true love. People who do not understand Buddhism sometimes think upeksha means indifference, but true equanimity is neither cold nor indifferent. If you have more than one child, they are all your children. Upeksha does not mean that you don't love you. Love in a way that all your children receive your love, without discrimination. Upeksha has the mark called samatha jnana, wisdom of equality, the ability to see everyone as equal, not discriminating between ourselves and others. In a conflict, even though we are deeply concerned, we remain impartial, able to love and to understand both sides. We shed all discrimination and prejudice, and remove all boundaries between ourselves and others. As long as we see ourselves as the one who loves and the other as the one who is loved, as long as we value ourselves more than others or see ourselves as different from others, we do not have true equanimity. We have to put ourselves into the other person's skin, and become one with him if we want to understand and truly love him. When that happens, there is no elf and no there. Without upeksha, your love may become possessive. A summer breeze can be very refreshing, but if we try to put it in a tin can so we can have it entirely for ourselves, the breeze will die. Our beloved is the same. He is like a cloud, a breeze, a flower. If you imprison him in a tin can, he will die. Yet many people do just that. They rob their loved one of his liberty, until he can no longer be himself. They live to satisfy themselves and use their loved one to help them fulfill that. That is not loving, it is destroying. You say you love him, but if you do not understand his aspirations, his needs, his difficulties, he is in a prison called love. True love allows you to preserve your freedom and the freedom of your beloved. That is upeksha. For love to be true love, it must contain compassion, joy, and equanimity. For compassion to be true compassion, it has to have love, joy, and equanimity in it. True joy has to contain love, compassion, and equanimity. And true equanimity has to have love, compassion, and joy in it. This is the interbeing nature of the four immeasurable minds. When the Buddha told the Brahman man to practice the four immeasurable minds, he was offering all of us a very important teaching. But we must look deeply and practice them for ourselves to bring these four aspects of love into our own lives and into the lives of those we love. In many sutras, the Buddha says that if you practice the four immeasurable minds, along with the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, you will never again descend into the realms of suffering.